Developing and creating partnerships with different services or different organizations who provide services to ex-offenders. I think it's come about through several different avenues. We have a board of directors that we meet with on a regular basis. Some of those members are private business people, different positions in the community. When we started down that path, I didn't really think that was going to lead to collaborations with outside agencies, but it has. One of our representatives with like a manufacturing association in Indiana, and the more we got to know each other, they come into our shops, they see what we do, and then one person talks to another person. So we saw those things start to develop, and all of a sudden we have some business people that are saying, make us aware when you have a qualified person coming out to this area or whatever. And as that's growing, one door seems to open another door. We developed a relationship with the United States Department of Labor because of some of these things that were going on. So we brought apprenticeship inside our prison by running the program, and they're seeing the success of the program. That helped to grow. There were contacts there. That led us into a partnership with the National Institute of Correction with Offender Workforce Development Training. And as part of that training, part of the things you're supposed to do when you go home from the training is to identify and find some of those people in the communities that work on the post-release side. So when we came back from that, we actually had developed a workshop we used with our correctional industries offenders. And in that workshop, we bring offenders and staff together to the same tables to spend a day together. And so we originally thought we would work just with our correctional industry staff, some of the facility staff, but then we started bringing the faith-based people, the nonprofit people. So we had community people actually coming in, sitting for 6 hours with the offenders, hearing them talk about their needs, their concerns, the things they're going to face. So bringing them in, and then like I said, once they go back out and start talking, so it's just a networking thing that seems to go. It seems like one program continually feeds another program. And so now we have a broad base of people who understand what we do. I mean, compared to 4 years ago, if we were at 10% then, we're probably at 80% now as far as, the number of people that we collaborate with the community. So it's nice to know that you can pick up a phone and call a number of different areas in the state, and you have a contact there. Somebody you can say, we have an offender coming back to your area. Can you meet with them? Can you see if you can help them out? So networking, being involved in good training programs, having a board of directors, community people that are involved in what you do, getting people inside your shops that see that it's real work being done in these programs, all of a sudden it changes their point of view. I know the one board member specifically said, I came here to make sure you weren't taking jobs away from private citizens. He said, I've done a complete 180 now. He said, because these people, it's imperative that we find jobs for these people. It's in everybody's best interest. Public safety is these people coming back out and succeeding. And he said, I see now that you're turning out quality individuals who need to get a chance to get back on their feet, and it's in everybody's best interest. I believe the heart of the role that correctional industries plays in reentry is the fact that what we do inside our prisons is the very same thing that happens in a factory in the community every day. So people get up, they come to work, they have a time they're supposed to report. We have requirements for them. We have a code of conduct. We have things they have to adhere to. They have to work as a team. The process is everybody has to contribute. It's something as simple as manufacturing clothing. It's a process. There's maybe 18 steps to that, and they learn that, okay, this is where I fit in the step. And if I'm not doing step 14, then step 12 can't happen or whatever. So they learn the work process. And this is so many offenders, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm still amazed sometimes when an offender approaches me and says, this is the first job I've ever had. And here's somebody in their mid-20s or 30 years old that have never worked. So how can they go out into the community and really fit into a working environment when they have no history of it whatsoever? So I think the most important role we're playing is that we are emulating the community workplace inside the prison setting. So offenders come, they have clear expectations, and so they learn the work ethic. I loved it. One day I was in a shop and I heard a couple of offenders talking, and it's towards the end of the, I think it was like a Thursday afternoon, and so on Friday, the next day is going to be the Friday, and we all know how we feel about Fridays when it's work day. And I heard one offender say to another, boy, I'm glad tomorrow's Friday. I need this weekend. And I thought, they're here in prison. They're not going anywhere. But I thought that's really instilling a work ethic in these people when they realize this is the way life really is. The other thing I think, there's three main things that I think, our director of education, our department said that employers, the last research he saw, employers were really looking for three things. They were looking for somebody that shows up every day. They have to be there. They're looking for somebody that has basic education, literacy skills, and somebody that knows how to communicate and just talk. And I think all three of those things, I mean, we emphasize the education side. If an offender comes to us that doesn't have that, we work with the education department in the prison setting to make sure they're getting the educational requirements along with the job skills at the same time. We communicate. They have to work as a team on the floor, so they're learning the communication skills, which is paramount. I mean, when an offender gets out of prison, a lot of times they have a hard time looking somebody in the face and really talking to somebody straight on. But if we get them in this environment and they interact with the foreman, and in prison industries, they probably get to spend more time with one particular staff than they do anyplace else during their time of incarceration. So they get to develop a relationship there. They learn to look somebody in the eye, to talk, to process through things. So, so that communication skill that they're learning, coming to work, being required to be there every day, and then getting the basic literacy requirements that they're going to need to get out and succeed on the outside. I think that Correctional Industries really hits all three of those. I think those are key components. To instill this positive work ethic that the offenders are going to need when they leave prison, go back to the community, we try as much as we can to emulate what they're going to see on the outside. We have a application process that very much would be the same thing an offender is going to see when they leave the prison, when they walk out for that first job. So the application they're going to fill out is not going to be foreign to them. We have an orientation process where they hear from our director by video, and they ask questions and expectations are explained. We have a code of conduct. Just because we're in prison doesn't mean that they can come looking however they want and talk however they want and be disrespectful or scream across the shop or this and that. We have requirements. If we bring an outside business into that environment to see what we're doing, we want them to say, boy, I would want to hire those people. So we set a code of conduct that's stricter than what you probably find in most of the rest of the institution on a daily basis. But I think, not that we're special or doing anything different, I just think our environment allows for that to happen. So we try to take advantage of that. Another thing is, why still being firm and fair and consistent, that's sort of been one of the correction, standards for years, but that became almost an in-your-face type thing sometimes, where we draw a line in the sand that says you're going to do this, this, and this. We still put those rules out. We let them know what the expectations are, but I think we try to come alongside more, and instead of looking at somebody and saying, you will do this, we try to approach it from, okay, what do we need to do here? How do we need to work through this? So I think by trying to give them input, trying to let them know that their opinion and that matters, and it helps them, with their social skills or communication. So I think just trying to really emulate, I guess to sum it up would be to really emulate what they're going to see in the community. We try to do that in the correctional environment. So when they walk into that position out there, it's going to seem, okay, I've been there, I've done this, I can do it out here. I think the three most important factors for an offender today that's leaving prison, going to the community marketplace and trying to find that job that they're going to need, is number one, communication. They have to know how to look somebody in the face and talk and be confident. I know when I interview people, not offenders, but if I'm interviewing for a staff position, that first impression, that person that comes in, that looks you in the face, that really, you feel that connection with, makes a huge statement. I have some people come in and they don't hardly look at you. They have a ball cap on. They never take their ball cap off or whatever, and it's sort of like, do you really want to be here? What's going on? So I think instilling in that offender, that, look somebody in the face, tell them, straightforward where you've been, why you're there, why you'll be an asset to the company. So communication, being able to look somebody in the face with confidence. And we try to instill that, through several ways. I mean, we try to have a lot of interaction every day with offenders. Some of them work in the office setting. We have them come in and even spend time talking to us as if we were a potential employer. Say, how would you approach me today if you're going to do that? So I think communication's number one. Making sure that they have the education they're going to need when they get out. All of our offenders are required to be in a Department of Labor apprenticeship program we've established. When we originally set it up, we thought, well, just if offenders want to be in, that's okay. If they don't, that's okay. But we decided, let's work with the offenders who really want to change, who want to improve themselves. So we've made that a mandatory thing. So they start working in a set work process. They have related training. They work towards specific goals and trying to attain certain things. So I think, by putting them in a very structured work environment is a big plus for when they go to the community workplace. The third thing probably is just, we give very little room for missing a day of work. There's just a couple excused absences they can get by with in the prison. And so we try to set that standard and be very strict with that because it's going to be required in the community. I mean, I know employers say if I've got to have a person I know is going to show up every day. If they can show up every day, if they can get along with the people around them, if they know how to communicate, I can teach them everything else I need to have a productive employee.